This video is here to guide you through the processes of developing your analytical report's purpose, to get you thinking about how to develop your outline, and to get you thinking about your report title. First thing you're going to do in Module 3 is click on the Report Topic Outline Factors Hands-on Activity page. And here you will open the Report Topic Description template, which is what I already have available over here on the right hand side. This document is saved as a rich text format. Make sure that as soon as you open it, you save it using the following format: last name dash first name dash outline dash title. Step 1. Inside the text box, you're going to type the actual topic number and summary of the description for the topic you've chosen for this assignment. To perform this assignment, I'm going to use the topic chosen by a student whose sample report is available under Module 3.0, page 3.4, Report Template and Other Resources. So in the text box, I'm going to type number 17. This is not on your list, this is on a different list. Topic number was 17. Compare the effectiveness of 3 different types of online advertising and recommend one for Cotijas Taco Shop. In step 2, you're required to enter the problem and need statement using either the declarative statement, an infinitive phrase, or question format as discussed in Chapter 8 on pages 201 through 202. Remember, the problem statement provides a clear description of the situation that created the need for this report. If you read the sample report background information, you could just go to the executive summary, or you can go to the main report. You'll see that the company's old way of marketing was using flyers and banners, and it's not generating new customers. Additionally, the business has many more competitors in the area since its inception in 1995. As the student noted, the exponential growth of technology has enabled businesses to use the internet as a marketing tool, and it's clear the surrounding competition has a comparative edge over Cotijas because they utilize online advertising methods to generate customers. We can now determine that the situation has created a need for Cotijas taco shops to start using an online advertising campaign. I personally prefer my problem statement to be in the form of a question because it helps me to determine the factors I need to research by answering that question. So in the text box for step 2, I'm going to type which of the top 3 types of online advertising methods would be the most effective for Cotijas Taco Shop. Now we're going to move on to step 3. Step 3 requires you to now determine the purpose of the report. Remember, the purpose of the report addresses the report's objective, the aim or the goal, what outcome you want. Here, the goal is to explore different methods of online advertising to determine which one is most suitable and most effective for Cotijas Taco Shop. Remember, the purpose asks what we need to do to meet the goal, objective, and aim of the report. So in the text box for step 3, I'm going to type the purpose of this report is to explore different methods of online advertising to determine which one is most suitable and effective for Cotijas. You will use this purpose statement again when you write the purpose of the report subsection in your report's introduction section, as well as later on when we do the developing your title assignment. So moving on to step 4. You're now going to use this problem and purpose statements to determine factors you need to research to objectively conclude and recommend which online advertising method would be most effective for Cotijas. For this assignment, you don't need to enter anything under the first outline section, under introductions. You'll notice that there are subheadings that we're going to have to use in the actual report. So after the main heading of introduction, you're going to include the introduction to the problem, need, background, purpose of the report, scope of the study, sources and methods, before you get to the report proper, which gives us the results of the study. Just as a note, this student actually did list those subheadings underneath the introduction so that he or she could stay focused, and if you want to do that, that's fine. It's going to be the same subheadings for all of your reports: introduction to the problem, need, / background, and so on and so forth. So if you want to do that in the outline, that's fine. Not necessary. So if we look back on the 3 online advertising methods and major factors the student researched, you'll notice that the student ended up using 3 section headings in the report proper of online advertising methods, the costs of implementation, and the 3rd heading was customer analysis, under which he then compared and contrasted the 3 online methods based on those factors. The factors listed under the heading sections relate to 3 types of online advertising methods he or she determined were the most popular and effective through his or her research. Another way of preparing this outline might be as follows. So the 3 section headings would be social media, actually breaking it out by the 3 different types of online advertising. The second would be video advertising. And then we would create a 3rd. Here we will type the 3rd online advertising method of pay per click. This is going to be the next heading in your report, and on your outline it's item number 4. Moving on, the factors that you are going to research would now be, according to his or her report, explicit costs of implementation. The next one would be, if we look at his or her report, implicit costs of implementation. And finally, customer analysis. So you're going to take these 3 factors and copy and paste them into each of the following each of the heading section. Again, the conclusion and the recommendation sections, you don't need to fill anything out in there because you can't really write anything here until you have researched and written the report. The next part of the assignment requires you to develop a title for your report using the 5 W's and 1 H journalist's trick in developing their article and headlines and titles. You can find additional help on this part of the assignment from the Chapter 9 Communication Matters box at the top left of page 250, as well as in Chapter 3 Construction of Titles and Captions section on pages 44 through 45. As I told you, you're going to use the topic description and the purpose statements again. So here we're going to just take that topic number and description and paste it right in here. And then the purpose statement is going to be the purpose of this report is, and we're going to copy and paste. Now, just so you know, you can also just start the purpose statement with the words "to determine" and cut it down shorter. So let's begin with the answer to who. The answer to who is obviously the Cotijas Taco Shop. The who is the report written for? Let's move on to the what question. What kind of report is it? In this case, it can be considered a comparative study because we need to compare the factors of the 3 most effective online advertising methods in order to make a recommendation. So, therefore, the what is a comparative study. The answer to when. This information is not always necessary to include in your title, but typically it would be the month and the year. This is mostly used for very quantitative reports. So, in some cases, the where is not necessary. So, we can just put it's not really necessary, not applicable. The answer to where, because the answer to this question is already implied in the answer to the who question, we wouldn't necessarily need to include this information in the title. However, if you notice when you read the report, this report was written for one specific Cotijas location, and it's the one in East Orange Avenue in Chula Vista, California. So I would have liked to have seen that included in this student's title. Not a big deal, but it's important to be specific. So I would include it in the title. Next, we move on to answer the question why. This is the purpose of the report, okay? So it's to recommend or to determine. And again, we would basically just copy and paste from our purpose statement. We could change it to recommend instead of determine. Okay, next is how. This information, again, is not always necessary, but in this case, it could be answered by saying, comparing social media, video, and pay-per-click online advertising methods. Remember, a good title efficiently and precisely covers the contents of the report. Now that we have answered these questions, we can develop a title. At the bottom of this page, you'll notice, highlighted in yellow, is a suggestion for the best practice of developing a title after completing the 5 W's and 1 H. You don't necessarily have to create the title in the order in which the questions come up. More often than not, it's going to make more sense by using this following format. First, start with the what, for whom, the why, the how, the when, and the where. If any of those questions are not answered, obviously we're not going to include them in the title. So, based on the way I chose to answer these questions, my title that I came up with using this information, I think, is going to be as you can tell, I've already had this type. A comparative study for Cotijas Taco Shop, Chula Vista, to recommend an effective online advertising method. I've used a subtitle letting us know the how, comparing social media, video, and pay-per-click online advertising methods. So take note, this is not the only title that can be developed for the report. This is just one suggestion that ensures the reader knows exactly what the report is about before reading the entire report. Now it's your turn to develop a title for your report for the topic that you have chosen. Don't forget to submit it using the instructions on the module page.